everyone, my name is Jamie and I am the Salesforce administrator for an organization called Childhaven, and we are an organization that provides therapeutic care to children ages 1 month to 5 years old who have experienced abuse and neglect. We are currently using Salesforce to support our child family therapists, teaching staff, and our program directors. And I am going to show a quick demo today on the main ways that we use Salesforce, which primarily revolves around our case management work. So I'm just going to go on ahead and dive in here, and I am going to access a child contact record, and this is where we just gather some basic demographic information on the child. And if we scroll to the bottom here, there's some other things that we gather. So we have our enrollment record, which will get information about the referral source, why they were referred, some more demographic information, and their medical history as well. We also track the child's ITP, which are individual treatment plans, and this is going to list any areas of concern or challenges that our therapists see with the child, and also any goals that they set for that child and how they're going to measure those goals. So I am not going to actually demo tracking the ITP today. However, I am going to show how we track relationships in the system because this is pretty important for our organization. So I'm going to actually create a sibling relationship here. So I'm going to look up test child A bio brother. So I'll select the related contact here, which will be test child B. I'll put the type as bio brother, and I'll save the record. And if you go back into the child contact record, you'll be able to see at the bottom here that that relationship is established. And if you go into the sibling contact record, that relationship will also show up as well. So you'll see test child A is the bio sister of test child B. And this is actually going to be really important for the next step I'm going to show. And I'll go on ahead and go into an enrollment record here, and you can just kind of get a brief idea of what it looks like. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we track a lot more information as well. So we track case notes, which are pretty much where our home visitors and therapists will have an interaction with a parent or caregiver, and they'll go on ahead and document what happened during that interaction. And I will demo that in just a sec. We also track diagnoses, which will list any disorders that the child has, their symptoms, and any other observations. And we also track their class assignment, which I will go into a little bit more in just a minute. And then we also track their funding source program as well. So I'm going to go on ahead and demo a case note, which is going to be our home visit note. So let's go ahead and go into one here. And so pretty much a home visit note is where we have our home visitor go out to a house once a month. They'll go on ahead and observe the house, interact with the caregiver, and make some observations. And then they'll come back into Salesforce and note all those observations here, which I've already done. And what this home visitor wants to do is go on ahead and take this case note and clone it to their sibling. And that's where having that relationship established in Salesforce is very, very important. So we'll click the Clone to Siblings button here, and you'll see the relationship listed in this box. We'll just go on ahead and select that, click Next. And if you go into the sibling record, you'll be able to see that that case note was cloned over. So you'll see that here. And what that pretty much does, let's go into this case note, and you'll be able to see that most of the fields populated over. There are some that did not, and we do have it set up this way for home visitors to where they can come into this case note and just make any minor changes to the fields that we have auto-populated. The fields that remain blank and don't transfer over are usually the fields that change month to month, and so there's a lot more editing done on that. And that just saves our home visitors a lot of time. So let's go ahead and go back into the original case note, and I'll show you the other step that our home visitors will do, which is the clone to self option. So what this does is it takes this exact case note and it duplicates the record to the same child. And the reason we do that is so when a home visitor goes out to the home next month, they can just come back in here, clone this case note, and just make any minor changes. So they don't have to fill out every field. Just any small things that change, they'll come in and edit. So it's a really big time saver as well. So that is a lot of what our child family therapists focus on. I'm going to go on ahead and go into classes here and just show you how our teachers really use Salesforce. So I'll go ahead and access one of our classrooms. And you can see here we just gather some basic information, how many kids are enrolled, how many spots are vacant. And if you scroll down here, they'll be able to see any kids that are currently enrolled in their class. So some of the main things that they use this class assignment for is tracking attendance and also creating CCPs. And CCPs are daily behavioral assessments that our teachers fill out for each child. So if you look here, it's telling me that attendance is 2 days behind, so we're going to go on ahead and create attendance for 2 days ago. So we'll click the button here, and what this does is creates an attendance record for each child that's enrolled in that class. So right now I only have 2, but say for example that there's 10 kids enrolled in this class. The system will create 10 records in 5 seconds, and so the teacher doesn't have to come in here and create each record for each individual child one by one. The other cool thing is how they track absences. So a teacher will only have to edit any records for a child that was absent. So if there's 10 kids in this class and there was 1 child absent, they will only have to make an edit to 1 record. So we'll come in here, we'll go on ahead and say this kid was absent, put the hours in, save the record, and you'll see it listed here. And this is also really important because it ties into when they create those CCPs, which they always do after the attendance. So we'll go on ahead and go back into this classroom. And let's go ahead and create those CCPs. And you'll see that the system just did the exact same thing it did with the attendance, where it creates a CCP for each enrolled child for that class. And you'll also see here that for any kids that are absent, that CCP status gets marked as absent automatically. So the teachers will not have to come in here and edit this record. They will have to edit the CCPs for kids that did show up that day. So they'll click edit, they'll come in here, this is what the assessment looks like. It's 5 sections. There's questions that are a rating scale, and they'll just go on ahead and complete it for each child, and then save that CCP. So that's pretty much what our teaching staff uses Salesforce for. It's very helpful, saves a lot of time. And then we also have some really cool dashboards for our program directors. And so we have the director's dashboard here, which shows how many children are enrolled under each CFT's caseload at each branch. So we have it sectioned off by branch here. You'll see the CFT, and you'll see how many kids they have enrolled for their caseload. At the bottom here, we have the class vacancies at each branch, so you'll see that sectioned off again, and it will have each classroom listed, how many children are enrolled, and how many openings they have. And we also have it showing any vacancies that are 3 or more. So you'll see that it will be highlighted in red. So it's like a pretty big indicator for our directors to see. And they also use the Childhaven enrollment stats dashboard as well. So on the left-hand side here, our directors will be able to see how many children are enrolled through each funding program, and then it's sectioned off by branch as well. And then in the middle here, we'll be able to see how many children are enrolled for each referral source under the funding program at each branch. And on the right hand side here, they'll be able to see how many children are enrolled at each branch, how many children enrolled for the previous month, and how many children withdrew in the previous month. So it just gives them a real quick look, some real quick stats to get the information that they need to report on, and it's just really, really awesome for them to use. But that is pretty much the main ways that we use Salesforce here at Childhaven. So that's all I have for you guys today.